My loves, it's time for the everyday woman to break old money patterns and build true wealth. This November, I'm hosting my next live workshop called Drop the Veil, where we'll be tackling 3 money myths the world wants you to keep believing that's keeping you from building true wealth. Sign up today by going to amyvanmeel.com/drop the veil. All one word. The link is in the show notes, of course. I cannot wait to see you there. Let's say that you are in a committed, loving relationship right now. Along the way to having that committed, loving relationship, which was likely a desire of yours, were there things that you needed to sacrifice? Was there actually something of value that you had to surrender, to slaughter, to give up in order to bring in the relationship? The myth of sacrifice is built on this premise that on the way to what we desire to bring into our life, we need to be willing to and committed to releasing things that we enjoy now. Welcome to the Manifesting Millions podcast, where we talk about manifestation, money, and practical guidance to creating your dream reality. My name is Amy Van Meel, and I am an experienced coach and transformation guide, obsessed with helping you get out of your own way and create a life that blows your mind each day you wake up. My goal in this podcast is to share practical manifestation, self-awareness, and growth techniques in real talk conversations. So if you're ready to massively transform your reality, your finances, your relationships, and your overall enjoyment of life, you are in the right place. I am absolutely delighted that you're here with me today, babe. Let's get into it. Hello, my loves, and welcome back to the Manifesting Millions podcast. I'm delighted to be here with you again today. It is a beautiful fall day here, and I had the lovely pleasure of going to meet this amazing woman that I met about 10 days ago for a coffee today. She is the CEO of a VR, AR company that uses virtual reality and AI to do training and things. Absolutely fascinated with the work that she is doing, and was such a neat conversation. Truly, we sat together for about almost 3.5 hours, which tells you that it was a really juicy conversation. And it is really amazing what happens when women come together to connect and just share wisdom and insights and have a lovely open conversation, which is a beautiful little segue to invite you to a brand new space that I have created and that I am currently testing out. It's open. You can join it immediately. I've created a community space called The Fem, F-E-M, excuse me, and the intention for this community space is a place for women to come together, women who are creative, highly impactful, driven thinkers, women who are soul-centered, who believe in the win-win game, not the zero-sum game, and are looking for ways to not just connect with other like-minded souls and build community, which I think is really powerful in our current world. This is something that we were talking about this morning in the coffee that I was having, how disconnected our world is consistently becoming. So it's a space to connect with other women, but it's also a space to have a clean transmission of insights and wisdom and ideas for you. So inside the FEM community, which is completely free, You'll see posts from me throughout the week. Every Monday, I host a tapping live masterclass. I don't really love the word masterclass in this case. Essentially, what I'll be doing is every Monday at noon Mountain Standard Time, I go live inside the community and tap through whatever is present and emerging. But topics will focus on money, manifestation, life creation, business, things like that. So if that is of interest to you, we do that live every Monday, and it all happens inside the FEM community. So I'll put the link in the show notes for you to sign up. As I said, it's totally free. So hopefully I'll find you inside there. The community is starting to grow, which is very exciting, and I honestly would love to see you inside there. Today we're going to talk about, we're actually going to take a little bit of an excerpt from my upcoming live workshop. So if you haven't yet registered for it, then this is your reminder / invitation. The Drop the Veil live workshop is coming up in just a few weeks. End of November is when it's going to be live. I don't know what the dates are off the top of my head, but I will share them by email as soon as they are confirmed and I know what they actually are. This workshop is a 3-day live workshop where we are going to crack open 3 big money myths that are standing in between you and creating the wealthy as fuck life that you desire. Most of us desire a life of real wealth, not just monetary gains. That's obviously a big part of it, and certainly a big part of the Wealthiest Fuck program is really talking about money and breaking down key concepts on money. The Drop the Veil workshop is going to be tackling 3 key, I don't want to use the word blocks. I don't love the word blocks, but 3 key areas that we have been led to believe we need to behave and believe in a certain way in order to enjoy the life that we have as our dream life. And the problem with these particular ideas is that they often mean we're going to have to depart from something that feels good. So today I'm going to take a tiny little spot out of day 3, and we're going to be talking about the myth of sacrifice. We are entering money season, my loves, and I hope you know what that means. It means my next live workshop is coming out hot, hot, hot. This November, I'll be hosting the Drop the Veil workshop, where we are going to break old money patterns that everyday women like you and I need to let go of to build true wealth and truly master our money. Save your spot today by registering at amyvanmeel.com/drop the veil. The URL is in the show notes as always. And babe, bring your bestie, because this one is gonna be good. See you there. So I said the myth of sacrifice, and I want to frame it up really quick for you, and we'll go more in depth in this in the Drop the Veil workshop. This is day 3. Really big, important, weighty idea that gets in the way of a lot of what we want to create in life, and let's not have more of that. The idea of sacrifice is that we are, I'm going to just use the word sacrifice, and then I'm going to give you the etymology of it, and perhaps it will help start to crack some of this open for you. But the idea is that we are sacrificing something that we want in pursuit of something that we want more, or that we are sacrificing something that we enjoy in pursuit of something that we think that we will enjoy more. It is very often framed in the context of sacrificing time with our family to build the business of our dreams. Sacrificing, this is a big one. Everybody says this, sacrificing short-term pleasures for long-term gains. Sacrificing, really, I mean, it could be anything. I worked with a business professional, I'm going to just use that word, who had a training that ran over 2 years, and they did live events, they did live classes, and every single time there was a training and every time there was a lesson. So in a live event that might be a 3-day event, we might have like 4 or 5 of these. What we would have is we would set this intention of what we wanted to create, and then we signed a contract on something called a sacrifice plan. We actually wrote down what are we going to sacrifice on the way to achieving this intention. Now, there's nothing wrong with making intentional decisions, okay? That's not what we're talking about here. We're not talking about that we sort of get to have our cake and eat it too, which we do, by the way. What we're talking about here is loading, creating this weight, putting this heaviness on something that we are creating by attaching these saddlebags of a load of things that we are giving up that we enjoy on the way. So, for example, one of them might be that, let's say you had a business goal that you wanted to bring in, 5 new clients in the next month. And your sacrifice plan to do that would be that you are giving up dinners with your family for the next, let's say 3 days a week for the next month. The myth of sacrifice is built on this premise that on the way to what we desire to bring into our life, we need to be willing to and committed to releasing things that we enjoy now. There's only really one avenue that I think that potentially can apply, and that is in the realm of weight loss. And I want to just clarify that a tiny bit, because even there, sacrifice is not actually true. It is something that we are programmed to believe is necessary. If you were wanting to release weight in your body, or let's say even if it wasn't weight release, let's say perhaps you're wanting to become more fit, okay? Very often we have this because, of course, we've been told in the health and weight release industry spends billions with a B on telling us this is the way, that we need to sacrifice the things that taste good. We sacrifice the cookies and the chips and the snacks and the chocolate, and we sacrifice feeling full on the way to having a weight release, creating a certain kind of body. And of course, we are inundated with what that body should look like, but very rarely do we understand what that body would feel like. The myth of sacrifice still applies here with this one small caveat. It is, of course, a fact that unless you are going to be at the gym and like working out a stupid amount of time and putting out a stupid amount of calories, you can't just sit on the couch and eat bags of chips and expect to see the weight removed from your body. And if it does, there is something deeply wrong with your health, okay? That's the only time that I really think that there is some element of truth related to this idea of sacrifice. However, I also will counter that by saying that if you have, and very likely if you've done some kind of weight release intention, right? So you've done a diet, you've done, whatever you said, a New Year's resolution. It's really popular. You have followed this plan or attempted to follow a plan that basically gets rid of anything that feels good to eat. Okay, I'm not talking about salad. Salad feels good to eat. But sometimes I find salad kind of like, oh my God, am I still chewing? But, chocolate, chips, cookies, snacks, sweets, gummies, things that taste good. Things that bring little to no nutritional value into our body, but actually do provide a different kind of value to our physiology. And that is what is really missing when we talk about these weight release or diet programs that say you need to get rid of them, because it is missing entirely that there is actually something of value nourishing your soul through some of these snacks. So while yes, you cannot sit and eat an entire bag of chips every single week and expect to release weight, if you are a healthy, fit, normal adult, you also don't have to completely sacrifice it. Okay? When I was on my weight release journey, one of my favorite things about the program that I followed was that it taught us that there are no bad foods. There are no bad foods. There are some that are more nutritionally dense. There are some that are going to support your body more fully, and there are others that are not. But instead of saying that something needs to be taboo or is not welcome, we simply adjust how we interact with those foods, right? So, for example, I have baked cookies forever, and I know probably about 10 years ago, right when there was like a big push for people to be bringing healthy cookies to, group gatherings or whatever. I would bring cookies as a treat to different things, places that I volunteered, etc. And I would often get asked, like, are these healthy? Are they gluten-free? Are they fat-free? Are they sugar-free? Are they whatever? And I was like, no, they're just a cookie. They're a regular cookie made with regular ingredients, and was at times met with, well, but then I can't have any because like there's so many calories in there. And my response was always, then have one. Have half of one. Now, if you choose not to have them, that's fine. But to fool ourselves into this belief that we cannot enjoy something that maybe isn't that great for us simply because we've been led to believe that it's wrong or bad or immoral or pick something, that's just silly. Okay. Now, let me come back to the myth of sacrifice in a bigger term. And we're going to definitely dive into this in the Drop the Veil workshop. And I'm going to actually help shift how you see some of the key critical factor frameworks that are currently holding up like your current reality today, and help you begin to drop the veil. There's a reason the workshop is called Drop the Veil, to begin to drop this perception because it's standing in the way of creating the wealth that you actually desire to have in your life. Okay. And we're also going to do a complete redefining of wealth in the most beautiful, juicy way. So if you are keen to get your buns in there, hit the show notes to grab the link, because you got to be registered to get access to the workshop. Okay. So let's dive into a tiny bit about this myth of sacrifice. I want to give you just the etymology, meaning like the root of the word. Okay. Etymology of the word sacrifice. The word sacrifice means, I guess it's not really the etymology, correction. It's the definition. Etymology is like the baselines of the word, which are, I believe it's like a holy, I saw this a minute ago. It's like a holy offering, I believe is what it is. But the definition of sacrifice, are you ready for it? It's an act of slaughtering an animal or person, or surrendering a possession as an offering to God or a divine or supernatural figure. It is an act of giving up something valued for the sake of something else regarded as more important or worthy. I want you to really note it is slaughtering, surrendering, giving up something or someone of value. Listen, if you didn't love kale and you were on a health journey, and part of that health journey somehow said, well, you need to give up kale in order to go through here, that would not be hard for you. Okay? Because you're like, well, I don't fucking like kale anyway, so that's cool. Take take this like terrible, weird lettuce thing and be on your merry way. That's not a sacrifice, okay? But what I want you to understand is that sacrifice may not be required at all. We've been programmed to believe, we've been inundated by the messaging, we have been led to the waters of this idea that in order to bring forward what we desire in life, we need to be willing, ready, able, and committed to essentially murdering some element of our life, releasing something that feels of value or worth to us. The question that I have is, what are you believing currently that you need to sacrifice in order to have the dreams that you have? If you have an income or a savings or an investment goal, okay, some kind of monetary goal, what are you currently believing that you need to sacrifice in order to attain that goal? Is it that you are believing you need to sacrifice a cup of coffee? Dinner's out? Is it believing that you need to sacrifice your peace of mind? What is it that you're sacrificing? Are you sacrificing another way to look at this is, what are these short-term pleasures that you believe you need to sacrifice on the way to the long-term gain? What I find so interesting about this, and we may dive into this, we'll keep an eye on time, but we may dive into this in the workshop itself, is this idea that there is something of value that needs to be let go of, needs to be intentionally dismissed. I suppose that's a better way of saying it. In order to have something of greater value, what I want you to think about is this. I'm going to frame this in the context of a relationship. Let's say that you are in a committed, loving relationship right now, okay? Along the way to having that committed, loving relationship, which was likely a desire of yours, were there things that you needed to sacrifice? Was there actually something of value that you had to surrender, to slaughter, to give up in order to bring in the relationship? When I look at my relationship with my husband, we have a really wonderful, loving, supportive relationship. The things that I had to give up on the way to getting there are things that really weren't providing value in my life anyway. Okay? Things like having to be right all the time. Things like having to have everything done my way. Things like being, how do I say this correctly? Like not being vulnerable, not being willing to talk things through, not being open, not being willing to be hugged. Okay? The things that I gave up on the way to creating this beautiful relationship that I now have were not things that felt like a sacrifice. Doesn't mean that it was easy. Doesn't mean that like, oh my goodness, you want to talk about a growth edge. You go tell a Virgo that their way isn't correct all the time and see how that happens. Doesn't go well. And that's fine. These were growth edges that in truth have actually brought about a more wonderful, loving, peaceful, caring way of being in my entire life. My relationship with my husband has actually only made me a better human. It's been amazing. There are things, certainly, that were let go along the way. I also, when I was single, didn't pine away for like, oh, if only I could find a guy. This just needs to happen. I recognized that being single was a time in my life. And it didn't always feel good. Wasn't always like, this is awesome. But because I recognized it as a moment in my life that would eventually become something in the past, it also helped me to really enjoy that moment. I've talked about this before I started my weight release journey, I wanted to ensure that I felt that I was in good shape with my body, in the sense of I felt loving towards my body. I wasn't starting the journey from a place of feeling like my body was gross or disgusting or hating on my body. And that took some work. There were things that I had to give up. I had to give up telling myself, looking in the mirror and having the initial response be, ugh, really? That's what I look like? I had to give up some of those things. Those weren't sacrifices. So I want you to just take some time to consider and make some notes. Bring them with you when you come to the workshop, because we'll talk about them more deeply. But think about, what is it that you are currently believing you would need to sacrifice in order to have whatever the wealth dream you have. Okay? So that dream could be money related. It could also be related to call it love, peacefulness, career growth, right? It could be retirement goals. It could be anything. But I want you to start to think about, what is it that I believe I need to sacrifice to get there? And just start having a look at that. We'll go deeper into it inside the Drop the Veil workshop. But even just taking the time now, between now and when we actually run the workshop, to have a look at it more deeply is going to give you some pretty cool insights. With that said, the last thing that I just want to remind you of, we are into money season. We're into Wealthiest Fuck season. The doors for Wealthiest Fuck are going to be opening up very soon. The Drop the Veil workshop is our lead-in for our Wealthiest Fuck program. It's going to be amazing. Something that I want to just bring your awareness to. So I'll be talking about this further inside the workshop so that you actually can get some insight as to like what this is going to look like. But we're going to have a shift from simply, I don't want to say simply focusing on money, but like simply focusing on money, because we're focusing on really creating a complete wealth life. Okay. So this is the first time that this is going to be happening. We're going to be adding in components talking about health, talking about career growth, talking about personal growth, and dealing with challenges in life. So the Wealthiest Fuck program is about to get a massive, massive upgrade and beautiful infusion of a much bigger realm of content and context and insight. So it's definitely a very juicy time to get into it. My love, I want to thank you so much for listening to the episode today. I really, really deeply appreciate when you press play, when you're connecting into what I am attempting to share with you. For those of you who have left a review already, thank you so much for doing so. And if you have not yet left a review, this is my invitation to leave a review of the podcast. And one last reminder that I'd love to see you inside the FEM community, and that link to join for completely free is inside the show notes. I will see you next week. Bye for now. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. If you loved what you heard today, be sure to share it with me by leaving a review on your favorite podcast platform and help me reach more like-minded people who are ready to expand their life. If you haven't yet followed me on social media, find me on Instagram for extra love and inspiration by following @AmyVanMeal, or visit my website at amyvanmeal.com. I love you so much, babe, and I am damn proud of you. I am already excited to connect in the next episode. And in the meantime, believe in yourself with the confidence of a 5-year-old.